Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pushing Buttons podcast with Marks and Anniepoo. Give each other names here, and or sorry, titles, not names. You know my name already, because that's the thing. Okay, but
Works.
No, you do not give me that. Don't open up old wounds here, Eddie.
Works.
Well, my name is Marks, and I am wearing shorts. You are correct. It is summertime. We're recording on the longest day of the year. It's the summer solstice today, so yeah.
Is it really?
Isn't it? And did I just fake news it?
No, I was just not, I didn't realize. Damn, I should go out today.
You should. I mean, kind of seems like you're ready to do it, but would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, my name is Anniepoo, and I'm ready to gorp. I'm not wearing gorpcore today. But I actually don't really know. Do I own gorpcore clothes? I guess I could own gorpcore clothes. Gorpcore is like athleisure, but outdoors. Outdoorsy.
Isn't the, like, jacket thing that you're wearing right now not gorpcore based on that definition?
Well, it's not like, I mean, I guess it is, but it's not branded.
Does gorpcore have to be branded?
Well, it would get extra points if it was like,
what's the gorp scale? What's
popular outdoor brands that I'm not going to name because
what's the gorp score of your sweater right now?
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being like extreme and 5 being like neutral and 1 is not at all.
Yeah.
7.
That's pretty gorp.
No, actually,
Wait,
I'm not sure because it's kind of thin, and like my idea of gorpcore is like they're usually thicker stuff, but I don't know.
Okay. Well, hey, I just learned about gorpcore literally before we started recording this, and so it was top of mind. And then you started talking about going outside, and I'm like, wow, you transitioned this without even knowing where the joke was going. That's pretty impressive, honestly.
I'm a natural. What can I say? We've been doing this for 23 episodes.
I actually don't know the count right now. I think it's 23 or 22. I should be on top of this.
Okay, we did not name our podcast episodes on Spotify, so I don't know. But I think it's 23. No, now it's
22.
No, it's not, because when you were gone, I recorded 21, and then we recorded another one. Wait, did we?
I'm not gonna.
Yeah, we did.
Well,
we did. So when you were gone,
yes.
The episode with Reezy was 21.
Yeah.
No, it was 20.
That's what I thought.
And then we recorded one when you came back, and then this is the one afterwards, so it's 22.
See? And today's lesson in communication is listening to your business partner to understand what they're going to say.
We're just business partners? I thought we were.
Oh my god.
They've been reduced to business partner. Again.
Speaking of reopening old wounds. Well, here on the Pushing Buttons podcast, we just gorp the heck out. No, that's not true. We're an esports adjacent themed podcast, that's the word. And, just catching up with me and Anniepoo and all of the madness that has been going on in our respective lives. And madness would be a great way to describe the last little bit. Things have been flying around left, right, and center.
I mean,
but
I've only been spiraling for like 5 episodes in a row. So if that didn't tell people about, the state of life, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like,
I remember, I think it was the episode. It was a couple episodes ago when I noticed that you were very visibly just like sitting there, just like, oh shit, like where's this going? And just really, really going down the rabbit hole. I'm like, okay, let's take a breath. Let's bring it back to what we were talking about. We're good.
I meant to tell you this.
Yeah.
Last episode, last recording, and I forgot to. And then I was like, oh, I'll just tell Marks about this story when later, when next time we talk. And then we've been busy and we haven't spoken much. Kind of a shame. But anyways, not talking about that.
There were daggers behind those words. Okay, so what's the story about?
So when you were gone on vacation,
Since you've been gone. Yep.
When you were gone on vacation, I sent you. Actually, I feel like I might have told you the story already. I think I'm having a moment. Remember when I took the photo of me recording on my couch setup? So I had set up like a podcast episode on my couch. Like my microphone was attached to my coffee table, and like my webcam was pointed towards me at the couch. And it was kind of like, it was actually a really nice vibe. It was like, come talk to me in my apartment. We're just chilling out. It was 2:00 in the morning kind of thing.
You did send me that photo, which made me think, because I think you sent that to me trying to make me think that you were recording it by yourself at 2:00 in the morning again. And I was really confused because you had already told me that you had a guest lined up. So I was like, what the heck is going on? I'm on vacation. I'll figure it out when I get back.
I did record an episode.
Did you actually?
I didn't send you the files. I didn't edit the files myself. They are in my laptop, which is the computer I was using to record it on. So there is a secret episode that exists. However, and I was going to give you the files because you said, "Oh, give me the audio files, give me the files, and I'll edit it for you." Just like you edited that episode of just me talking for a while. The first time I recorded really late at night.
Yep, 3 a.m.
I was going to give you that and then also just release the episode with a guest.
Yeah.
And then you would see it and you'd be like, what the heck? Why are there 2 episodes? And it would be like, haha, funny prank. But it was like actually not a very good recording and I didn't want to give it to you. And so I played myself. Oops. But, maybe I'll release a snippet of it.
Yeah. Little clip. Little clip of the secret episode.
It was a really good vibe, and I think I was getting somewhere, and then I lost it, and then it never came back. And then
you sat in silence for 20 minutes on the couch, being like, "Damn it, what was I gonna say?"
Yeah, it was bad, and also because when I'm recording alone, I actually the Anniepoo only episode, I had recorded it like 3 times. That was actually the 3rd take of doing that episode. And I was tired by the end of it. But the 3rd one was the best recording. This was the same situation where I recorded it like 2 or 3 times. And it I didn't feel good about any of the recordings. And so we never released that. But so...
Have you heard about what the definition of insanity is? It's doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yeah. But, I can't defend myself because it will literally just validate that claim that you just made. But we have, I started talking about this because I've spiraled like 5 times in like the same episodes, right? Like clearly something is going on and I'm probably spiraling because we don't have much to talk about these days.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that the 2 of us have sat down and kind of discussed about what has changed, because we've been doing this podcast now for we're getting up there. We're not there. We're not at a whole year just quite yet. I would be curious to see when our first upload on the channel would be. It was in September. So we're kind of getting close there, but we're not fully at that year. But a lot has kind of changed on both of our ends. I think more on not necessarily like the personal side, but yes, on the personal side, as well as our relationship to esports, because, well, hope you got your gorp core ready, because we're in the middle of esports winter right now. And people are ready at a moment's notice to venture out into the outdoors just whenever possible, right?
Into the unknown?
Yeah, pretty much. Into the unknown, but looking for something that they can find. Well, a couple of others have just kind of bunkered down in the house and we're like, listen, you can wear all the gorp stuff you want. I got my blanket. Things are great inside and nice and cozy in here. And quite frankly, esports winter has really affected both of our relationships to esports production and broadcasting. And so we thought it'd be kind of a cool episode to kind of do a little bit of reflecting on that front, especially too as we're in the middle of things. So why don't you start us off with, how esports winter has changed your relationship with
the 6th
tournament
viral
productions?
episode in a row? Yeah, sure, I'd love to. So
I'm enabling it.
well.
Okay. Uh-oh.
No, it's okay. I won't spiral, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Do we need a signal? Like, I'll clap my hands if I think you're spiraling. And then he'll be like, oh, okay, yep, bringing it back.
Just get closer and closer to your camera until I've noticed you're basically in my face.
How's this? Stop it. Stop spiraling. Hey, audio listeners, my bad. I'm pretty sure you can understand.
Oh my god, that's a little too there. A little too close. I mean, you brought your microphone with you, and I bet when you listen back to the audio, it translates over too.
Yeah, probably.
So esports winter, yeah. I don't really think I have too much insight as to predicting where the future is going to go and whether we'll come out of it or how to make sustainable choices, right? That's not my area of expertise. My area of expertise is me. And no, there are other things that I specialize in terms of knowledge and skills. But I want to focus right now on what I want to do in the future, right? What I can do right now leading up to that long-term goal too. Because for a year now, a year ago, it was just over a year ago, I got into esports full time. I pulled the plug, I got my full-time esports job, and I was happy. I achieved my big goal really fast, and I did a lot of different production stuff last year. It all came flying at me really fast, and then also felt like it was taken away really fast as well, with the decline of a lot of tournaments, a lot of orgs dropping their teams, and various other factors and events that were just outside of my control. So now I'm at a point in just my career in general, where I'm thinking about what my long-term goals are. And I'm also thinking about, okay, what do I want to do in esports? Because I know I want to continue in esports, but I don't know. I don't know in what capacity, especially because the broadcast roles seem very few. And then when it comes to my current work in community operations, this is work that I really enjoy doing. But it's not work that I'm going to do forever. This part of doing marketing work, which community operations and community management is considered a part of marketing work for those of you guys who, most people aren't familiar with community management work, but typically those people are part of the marketing team. I don't even know if I want to do marketing for my entire career. I have a lot of things to figure out, but right now I'm focusing on exploring different kinds of marketing within my company, which is really nice because it is both a mixture of esports and kind of a tech startup. So I'm getting to see both different sides of things that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I think that's kind of good because it's always, you're thinking about what's the next step for yourself on that higher level type of thinking instead of just going, because I think we've talked about this before, but sometimes you're just what's the next gig that I'm going to get,
Mm-hmm.
But quite frankly, you hit a point where it's okay, but what do I want for myself beyond this now? What can I work on outside of the skill set, and what can I improve myself on, and where do I want to take my direction in life? That's very higher level type of thinking when it comes to this type of stuff, right?
Yeah. And it's not, your career is really important too. And I'm of course thinking about my career. I brought it up first because this is slice of life esports broadcast. We're working in esports, or I guess like
Yeah.
we were working in esports broadcast, but currently I'm not realized like it. But anyways, I'm going to stop myself from spiraling before I get too far.
I was about to get up, but yeah, okay, you're good. I was going to get closer, but
maybe I should have just let you. That would have been good.
if you roll back the tape about 15 seconds, you'll notice me wheeling the chair backwards and getting onto my legs, ready to go.
I'll check it out later after post. But,
yes, of course.
One of the positives that's kind of come out of esports winter is I have a lot of more free time now. So I get to what's the word for it? I used this word before. It's a word that I used and I didn't come up with the word, obviously, but like I use it a lot. It's like when you put effort into other parts of your life in order. Yes, you want to say something? What got giggles?
Everybody, this is yes, the giggles, because this is a class A example of any not remembering what the word is, but then just trying to stall for time by repeating the same thing over and over again in slightly different tones to give the more time to figure out what the word is, and then eventually realizing I'm not going to find it, so I'm just gonna explain what the word is instead. That happens every time.
And I still don't know what the word is, but basically it's like when you're nurturing other parts of your life. And nurture is a good word, but that's not the original word I was looking for. I'm just spending more time doing other things. Going hiking more, for example. I freaking love hiking. I might have mentioned this in a previous episode. Like, I can actually go do hikes now. I have a goal to like do the highest elevation hike I've ever done at the end of the summer after Labor Day. And what else? Gosh, I don't really know, but I'm enjoying life. I'm just hanging out, chilling. I'm playing video games for fun now. It's just
what?
I know.
What is that like?
I didn't do that before
Oh my goodness.
during esports. Yeah, I wouldn't know. I mean, it's not. You can. You tell me what it's like. You've been streaming every day, playing video games, always consistently. That feels like it should be fun. Should.
Yes and no. I mean, you're not wrong, but streaming was kind of the way for me to justify. Okay, bit of backstory first. We got to roll back the tape a little bit, because when I was in school, I was balancing 3 jobs in addition to full-time school, in addition to being on student council and volunteering as well. So I did not have free time, right?
Whoa.
And then as soon as I graduated, right? Like when I wanted to sit down and play a video game, I couldn't, because I was like, I should be doing something else. I should be working right now. Like I should be doing something. Like I had ruined my brain that way. And streaming was a way for me to get comfortable playing video games again for myself, because I mean, like, this is me. I'm going to finally get through these games that I've actually really wanted to play, and because I am streaming it live on Twitch at Marks Wong, it was like, aha, yes, this is when I can actually go through and have these experiences for myself. And that has made it a little bit easier for me to just sit down and play a game. But it's still not like 100% there. Like I still feel that, like, not guilt, but just like, I feel like I should be working on something. So, you know, it's kind of like a yes and no thing, you know?
I feel like I should be working on something. Ooh, what a phrase. I'm triggered. I feel that way too. It's like, it's hard to sit down and rest. And I didn't work 3 jobs when I was in college. The most that I did was 2 at once, I think. Yeah, 2 at once, plus being a full-time student. Mm-hmm. Still up there. Did extracurriculars. But people like you and me, we don't know how to sit down. And I think that's, I mean... People would ask us, like, how are you working full time and then also doing esports afterwards, right? It's like, it felt like it was unusual. It felt like other people weren't really doing that. And that might just be because we were around a younger crowd that could afford to do that, both financially and time management, right? But... you know, all of this free time that I've had now gives me the opportunity to spiral and think about what I want next. And I don't know what I want next.
Should I get ready to stand up here? Okay. All right.
The pause was to see if you had started moving up.
Of course. Great audio podcast material.
Trying to figure out.
No.
Trying to figure out what the hell I want next. It was spiraling. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, now we're standing. Okay,
shoot. Oh, God.
No.
Got a little too close. I need my personal bubble, sir.
Yeah, okay, fine. But, okay, so, talking about, like, setting priorities and, goals and careers and all of that type of stuff, if it's okay with you, I would kind of like to share with the class how Esports Winter
Your spiral?
Yeah, my spiral.
Okay, should I also do the thing and I get closer and closer to the... Except, like, it'll be harder. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
Okay. Cool. I guess. You just canceled your own statement out. Okay, anyways.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I will stop interrupting you.
Yeah. You know how, like, what do you call it? A couple of years ago, they made that Saw adjacent movie called Spiral, and it was actually about just, like, I feel like we're working on some new product. Okay, anyways, I'm spiraling now myself. But Esports Winter happened, and, one of the things that you brought up was you're taking some time right now to figure out what your next goals are going to be, right? You want to see what the next challenge is out there, where you want to improve in different areas of your life, all of that type of stuff. And I went through a very similar thought process towards the end of last year into the start of this year. And I've talked about it a little bit on this podcast as well. But the big thing is I had just come off of, being offered all sorts of different work with like NECC, HSEL was also reaching out to me, but it was all starting to wind down. And I could just get the sense that there wasn't going to be as much work as there previously has been. So, with how successful of a year I had last year for esports casting and, being invited out to different events, all of that type of stuff, I had to ask myself the question, do I want to take time off of my daytime career to try and pursue this a little bit more? See where I can take it. Maybe take off a year, because in the federal government, they have specific leaves and stuff like that, to maybe explore this, see if there's any potential there in getting myself further in the esports scene. And then all the gigs started to dry up. And I went from legitimately asking my manager at work, being like, okay, so how does this leave going to work, to I think I need to reprioritize my goals. And I opted to go with spending less time as I did last year in esports and focusing a little bit more on my daytime career. And that's been a challenge, to say the very least, because if you just think of like your typical adult, right? I know our audience tends to run a little bit young, but you imagine office worker, businessman, walk into the office with the suitcase, you go, you do your work, and then you come home at night, lie down on the couch, make some dinner, watch some TV, and then you call it a day. There's a reason why people do that. And it's because if you're really investing a lot of time into your day job and into your career, you're tired. And working all of this extra esports stuff afterwards, I was exhausted. I wasn't just tired, I was exhausted. And when I was no longer being offered esports gigs as easily, and I was going up and competing with a lot of people who, once again, this is their full-time thing. They're trying to make it work, and they are being able to get out there and like spread their name. They're getting higher level gigs, all of that type of stuff. I just couldn't compete. And the only way I felt like I could compete is if I left my day job. And that was a really difficult decision-making process to make, because, especially too, when I'm talking about esports, everyone just kind of assumes like, oh, that's like the fun job, that's your career and that's your passion and you love getting out there and doing it, which is very true. But I also feel that same way about my daytime work as well. I've mentioned that on the podcast as well, but I genuinely am passionate about it. And so there was a shift where I was backing off on trying to pursue as many esports gigs, I did still work NECC and a couple of other things just when it was offered type of thing, but I wasn't trying as much to really market myself out there and put myself out there to get all of these gigs. And instead focused on my career a little bit more. And I mean, I don't think that this is like the proper platform to talk about this type of stuff, but I've been given so many opportunities at work that I think I probably would have turned down just to be like, that sounds like a lot of time and I need to focus that energy on esports. And instead being like, you know what? F it. I want to do this. We're just going to give it a go. Let's see where it takes me. Literally just might have been yesterday, might have been the day before. It's all blending together. Yesterday. I haven't been sleeping much lately. It was yesterday. Yeah. There was an open call for somebody to be like, hey, who wants to speak on this like panel moderation type of thing? And I'm like, I don't know if I should accept that because I am really overwhelmed with like a lot of things that are going on in life. So I messaged you about it and you were like, do it, dude. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. And so I submitted it and it looks like I might actually be able to attend that, which is going to be really good because then I'm going to be able to put my name out there in the public health field a little bit more. Right. And even though it hurts, like, to be completely candid, to see peers who I had worked with and I considered myself to be on the same level with before reach their new heights while I am more or less left in the dust, that was really difficult to wrap my head around as well. We joke about peaking a lot on this podcast, but that legitimately was just like, you have to come to terms with it because, you know, I still am sitting here being like that. Maybe I could have done something similar if I had given the time. Maybe I could have gotten in here. Maybe I could have been on like challengers or something like that. And that would have been really, really, really cool. But I'm still happy about where I decided to focus my energy in on my career because I think that it's doing wonders outside of life. And I'm outside of esports, I guess I should say. And I'm learning a lot of things that I don't think I would have focused in on as much. So that's kind of like what Esports Winter has done to me. And it's kind of hard to admit. I'm not going to lie. You don't want to be that guy just being like, like down in the dumps because everyone's very positive, right? But
I mean, yeah it's a mixture of both the negative and positive feelings that you express there, right? And that's what it's just like going through a transition. And everybody in esports is going through a transition right now. We're moving from especially in Valorant, both of us came from Valorant and like things are not like they were this time last year. But we moved from a very vibrant, dynamic, tier 3, tier 2 esports community to one that is just very stagnant. Like there's very few opportunities out there. Sponsors aren't fighting for events. Orgs are dropping teams. So it's just it feels very bleak for everyone, and you're experiencing that too as a caster, seeing that there are few opportunities and other people that you worked with have gotten. I feel that way too about observing, about producing. And, you know, one of the things that I also had to come to terms with is that my priorities have always been different. And that's in like finding stability and trying to develop a long-term career. And production just kind of doesn't really fit in.
No, I feel the same way. I mean, I can't remember. I'm extremely distracted right now.
Me too.
Are you going to address the little elephant in the room? Maybe the multiple?
Which one?
For the audio listeners, would you like to explain quickly?
I want to hear your perspective on the little elephant in the room.
There was a little kitten walking across the back there, and then I heard a couple of meow while you were talking, and then I heard you giggle about it. And here we are.
Well, it was really cute because there were two of them. You can see one of them right now on camera. I mean, I think if not, please recrop it. But like one of them is one of them's in the background, and another one came to like sniff and kiss it, and it was just really cute. And I just I couldn't contain myself, dude. It was adorable, but we were talking about transitions.
Yes, yes.
It's normal to feel a mix of a positive and negative. It feels negative for esports, but it's a positive transition into your other aspects of life. And you know, you in particular have had experience doing radio, now doing esports casting, and you've also been hosting panels and such, and you just put in an application to host a panel. Like, I think it seems like from an outsider's view, you're taking some of the skills that you learned in esports and using them towards your current career.
Yeah, I mean, when I was thinking about like, because one of my old friends, Spooky, who I started casting with, he does not cast at all anymore. And we were just playing games the other night, and we were talking about just like, you know, the esports journey and like what he's working on and what I'm working on. And it was one of those things where I know why, or like I was able to identify why I liked casting in esports. Because I want everyone to hear my goddamn voice. That's why I'm also hosting a podcast. No, that's not the reason why. I like talking about things. I
just rolled my eyes.
No, I can see it. Oh, for the audio podcast listeners. Yeah. Thank you. But it, like, I have a certain developed skill set that I enjoy doing, which is talking for large audiences. For whatever the reason is, I enjoy doing that. And I know that I do enjoy doing it, and so that's kind of why when these opportunities professionally, like outside of esports, come up, I'm a little bit more inclined to say yes or give it a shot, because I'm like, I've not to brag, but I've been at a couple of LANs in my day, and so it's just like, you know, it's
esports LANs or like public health LANs.
Not public health LANs. You're in the wrong place if you're looking for a public health LAN. We're going to be working on all sorts of R models to predict the different correlations between diseases and health conditions.
I don't fucking know what you just said, but whatever.
Welcome to my master's degree.
What a weird flex, but okay.
Yeah, you know, I got to take my dubs when I can.
I went to college.
You did go to college. Yes, you did. What was I talking about?
You were talking about how you like speaking for large audiences.
Right. So I was talking about transitional skills.
You just pulled an Anniepoo.
I did. It's been a rough week, okay? That's what it takes.
The turns have tabled.
I hate this. You're enjoying this so much right now.
I am. Okay. Transitional skills.
Yes. You know, I was able to identify what I liked about doing esports, and I'm trying to capitalize on that a little bit more. Use that expertise in other areas of my life to see where I can kind of take things and whatnot. Obviously, so for example, like I gave a presentation today, literally earlier today, and even when I was listening to other people's presentations who were going before me, right? It was the same thing with like when I'm watching an esports broadcast, I'm like, oh, that's so interesting that they did something like that. Okay, let me, like, the structure of this is very interesting on like how they put their sentences together and all that type of stuff. And I'm like, dang, next time I do a presentation, I should incorporate some of that into my own work. And I literally had that moment where I'm like, this is what I do when I VOD review. Like, what the heck is going on? Except I'm talking about like health stuff, and it's like, oh, that's kind of interesting. So yeah, I'm trying to use what I got out of esports as well to let other areas of my life flourish, for lack of better terms.
Flourish. That's a good word. I'm adding that to my vocabulary. Oh my god,
wow, it's like you're doing an esports
VOD reviewing too.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh Lord, I haven't done a VOD review in a hot second.
Yeah.
Oops, but you know, Valorant observing is not really something I've done recently, so there's nothing to review. Anyways, pain and suffering. Oh, hi. How's it going? You got a little close there.
By the way. Yeah.
It slowly backed away, yeah.
Yeah.
But all of this talk about transitional periods and esports winter and, you know, us just trying to figure out what we want to do next. We've changed a lot since the beginning of this. What do you want? Yes, you have something to say?
I have a point. I have a point to say, but I didn't want to cut you off, but I'm kind of cutting you off now.
Yeah.
Okay. So the way that I see like the relationship with like esports moving forwards, right? I don't want to speak on behalf of you, and I'm now realizing that I shouldn't have raised my hand because I don't know if you would necessarily agree with this, but I do want to be involved, but purely just understanding that that is the creative pursuit outside of work. I want it to be separated from this is like work, because I'm going to be honest with you, towards the end of it, casting and doing all that type of stuff, it felt like it was a job in addition to that. But I think I need to draw that professional boundary for myself, especially too, as I am a lot more focused on my daytime job. I'm saying this like right now as a current person, because I was using esports as a creative outlet for myself, as it is something that's very different from just like doing number crunching and stuff like that. And I want to hold on to that. That was something else that was very important to me. What that looks like could change potentially, but I did really enjoy having esports as a creative thing, but I want to make sure that I am better about not letting it dominate my life, you know?
Yeah. Like it fills a gap in your life, and it filled, I mean, for many of us, coming out of the pandemic and coming out of lockdown, even in lockdown, was a way for us to fill a hole from just the entire world changing, right? You needed something to be a creative outlet, and esports did that for you. I think for me, I was laid off during the pandemic. I don't think I'd mentioned this during the podcast before, but I was one of millions of workers that were affected by COVID layoffs. And so getting involved into esports for me was finding purpose again, finding passion, finding some work that I wanted to do and that I cared about. And so that was really nice and refreshing. So it was different for me. It was never really creative. While it was fun in some ways, I think it was always meant to be work for me. I will say it has felt less fun since I've started working full time. And that's not a jab at like the work that I've done since, becoming full time. That's just the reality of the situation. Like work becomes work. It's less fun when you turn a passion into a job, but it makes the job easier when you're working in a field that you're passionate about. So that's something that I'm also coming to terms to. And one of the reasons why I've been thinking about, okay, well, what now? Because now the passion is work. Do I find another passion that I also potentially turn into work? Knowing myself, I probably would. But I remember the word I was trying to find earlier, cultivate. You have to cultivate other parts of your life.
Like the rhubarb. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to, I actually have some on at the kitchen next to me.
Sure. Well, do you want to finish your point first before you go for the rhubarb?
I think I did finish my point, and then you interjected with rhubarb, and I got distracted.
Yeah, that tends to happen. But yeah, I mean, it is that transitional period, like you said, and once again, there are a lot of outside factors that kind of play into this as well, and I want to be explicitly clear. This is not one of those things where it's like, why did you get involved with esports? It's so bad, and like all that type of stuff, because genuinely, like you said, when I look back as well, I have like such fond memories of it. I mean, obviously we've talked about some of the downs, but I think that's to balance out all of the highs that you see for everybody, including your highs in your place right now. If you need to go quickly, I can continue rambling on and you can hear me. But
okay. I think there's a cat outside the window and they're trying to play through the window together.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's so cute. But crap. I forgot where I was going with the point now. Is this what it's like? I don't enjoy this.
Yes, that's what it's like living in my brain.
Oh man. I'm sorry I've ever made fun of you about this.
It's okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm going to look back fondly at my esports journey, and I encourage people to, find what works for them. This is just where we're coming at in our current place in time, kind of reflecting on this. And yeah, I mean, now's as good as a time as ever. But speaking of esports winter, we're going to be taking some, what?
Nothing. I
thought, it was a smooth transition.
It was a smooth transition, but I think I could feel you missing an opportunity to say we're going into hibernation.
Well played. I'm glad you interrupted me on that one, actually. The Pushing Buttons podcast is disappearing into hibernation. That's right. Oh, no. A Gwomp? No. Oh, no. I forgot what they were called. I was going to make a Star Wars joke, but it's all completely fallen apart. Like when you open up the beast's stomach and then you go inside.
A what?
Because it's so cold.
What?
Have you not seen Star Wars?
I like one of the movies, but not really.
Well, this is the best time to announce that we are going into hibernation as we rethink what the purpose of this podcast is and the nature of the people on the podcast as well. Okay, no, that kind of sounded bad. But we, especially too with where we're both coming in with esports production lately, and that is mostly the lack of esports production. We need to take a little bit more time to figure out what the Pushing Buttons podcast is going to look like going forwards, because that was kind of our main staple,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Times have changed. Going through a transitional period in our lives. Things are different from when we started out. So the podcast goes through a transitional period too. I don't know. Well, I'll speak for both of us. I can. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel comfortable with that. Marks thinks I'm stupid and he doesn't want to work with me. I'm just kidding.
How did you read my mind? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
He says I use profanity a little too much, and so he will be on the search for a new host that will come back later this year. No, I'm just kidding. All of that was a troll. Pretend I didn't say any of that. What's actually happening is we are taking an indefinite hibernation. It could be 2 weeks. It could be 2 months. It could be 2 years. We don't know.
It's going to be esports summer by the time it comes around.
So you know what? So that phrase, actually, I'm sorry to go on a tangent. I'll come back to it. But that phrase kind of triggers me a little bit. Just like, it could be 2 weeks, could be 2 months. Because that's what the head of my department said. I am aware that you're coming closer.
Okay. All right.
The head of my department said before, when things were just starting to close down because of the pandemic. He was like, yeah, things are shutting down. We're closing the office. This thing could blow over in 2 weeks. It could be nothing. It could be just a couple of months. We don't know. And then it ended up being 2 years.
Yeah.
And it was like, Anyways, so I don't think it'll actually be 2 years for the podcast. I can say that with confidence. But we are going back to the drawing board and figuring out, what the next goals for this podcast are, because to my understanding, we both want to continue it.
Yeah, we do. I was giving you the shifty eyes to try and make you feel a little bit nervous, because there have been previous times where I've said something and then Annie's just like, if you don't want to do the podcast anymore, you can just tell me. And I'm like, no, I still do. What are you talking about?
Because you make it sound like you don't want to do it anymore. It's
I wrote my own headcanon.
The way that you react is just eh.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just very nonchalant about that type of stuff. But yes, no, the intention is to do this, but we need to have some conversations about what that looks like, because otherwise it's just going to turn into the mad ramblings of myself and Annie.
It's already kind of like that, and we're pulling the plug before it gets a little too out of hand.
Yes. Before both of us are just right up into our webcams, letting each other know that we're just spiraling out of control.
The entire
for 45
time.
minutes every week.
Yeah, every other week.
Yep, every other week. Well, all right. So with that in mind, make sure that you are staying in touch with us on socials. Of course, my Twitter handle is at Marks_Wong. You can find Annie at
Anniepoo _
Yes.
That is.
I wasn't sure whether or not you got
as
the...
in Annie, poo, like poop, but without the P, and then the underscore.
Thank you for describing that in, I guess, detail. But also, too, the podcast has a Twitter account as well. It's at Push Buttons Pod. Almost said the wrong one there. Don't want that one. If you go to at Push Butt Pod, that one's on you. You'll see some stuff, but that's a journey you're gonna have to take alone, my friend. Of course, make sure to follow the podcast and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that when we do come around with those new ideas, you know what's going to be happening there. And I hope I can speak for both of us that when we do come back, we want to make sure we've got something that is exciting and is going to be fun to listen to. So it'll be like a fresh wave of creativity, a creative outlet, if you will. And yeah, did I appropriately speak for both of us?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Sorry, I'm about to start spiraling. I think it was great. I just started thinking about other things. Okay.
Stop. Yeah. Well, with that in mind, thank you so much for listening to the Push Buttons Pod, the Pushing Buttons Pod podcast with Marks and Anniepoo. We hope you've enjoyed hearing our opinions on the esports winter. But Annie, do you have any final thoughts for us before we close out the episode?
No. Let's see you guys after the break. It'll be good. It'll be fun. New season, new us. I guess we can call this the end of season 1. That's my final thought.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to write this down. I wasn't aware we were a season podcast now. It's going out of control. It's out of our hands. But thank you guys so much for listening in. And yeah, we'll see you after we figure out what we want this to look like. But we appreciate you sticking around and appreciate you guys listening as always. And yeah, that's going to be it. Thanks for listening to Pushing Buttons podcast with Marks and Anniepoo. And we'll see you somewhere. Bye, everyone.